I'm ready. Right, let's begin that again. So in May 2020, I discovered during the sort of first pandemic that my fourth baby had died, and I discovered it at a 12-week scan, and I just couldn't believe the pain of miscarriage. I even knew the statistics. I knew that 1 in 4 pregnancies ended in loss. And I felt completely ignorant to what my body was what was gonna happen within my body, um, what the emotional pain would be like, what the repercussions of it would be. I was so unprepared. And because no one talks about it, and because I didn't know so much about it, the only comfort I got was talking to people that I knew, like my cousin and one of my close friends. I knew they'd had a loss. Didn't know very much about it at all, but I knew that they'd had one. And the only comfort I got was by reaching out to them and saying, what's going to happen and what should I expect? What should I feel? And in the end, because no one talks about it, I ended up feeling like my grief was really disproportionate to my loss. And it was just a horrible, I felt less of a woman. I felt like because I'd had a miscarriage, I felt like my body had failed me. I had all this real painful, like self kind of loathing. And I ended up writing about the experience because I felt like if I was going through this, there's nothing out of the ordinary about the experience. There's nothing out of the ordinary about me. So if I was going through this and experiencing this pain, that other people must be as well. And I felt so strongly that support needed to change. Like in hospital, I was given a flimsy, shitty bit of paper telling me what to expect from my how to manage my miscarriage. And it just didn't feel like enough. So when I wrote about it, I wrote a post on social media about it, and it went kind of viral. And I started up a just a Facebook group, which is the one that we run now. And I just couldn't believe the number of women that joined. I think it was like 2,000 women that joined overnight, all saying the same things. This happened to me, and some women saying this happened to me 30 years ago. And it made me realize that this is not an experience you get over. It's an experience that you move forward from and that you learn to live with. And it's also an experience that is so misunderstood and misrepresented. And I really, really felt strongly that it needed to change, because all these women who were talking to me and writing to me and saying, yeah, I've been there, yeah, I've done that, yeah, I'm living with this pain still, they all had suppressed this pain that they had, emotionally suppressed it, because they had no platform to speak from. So I got shouty and ranty in my garden on a Facebook Live one day, and that's how I met Laura.
Yeah, I saw Bex having this passionate rant, and at the time, I had been through 7 losses um, over about 7 years. And the most difficult thing for me when I was going through my experiences was the feeling of isolation. So we knew that that was something that we wanted to change. We got chatting. We knew we wanted to change the way that support looked, but we weren't really sure um, how to do it. And if any of you know us or listen to the podcast, you'll know that that's how we started it, because we thought, what better way to make this topic conversational than to actually talk about it? And it's when we talk about it and we share our experiences that it sort of paves the way for others to be able to do the same. We wanted to share with you a couple of quotes from some remarkable women who have been through loss themselves, and have said sort of similar things about being brave enough to open up the conversation and talk about what they've been through. So first up, Bex's
So
favourite.
I do love Michelle Obama. So if we can open up to each other and share our real stories, that's what breaks down barriers. But in order to do that, you have to believe your story has value. When we share our stories, we are reminded of the humanity within each other. And when we take the time to understand each other's stories, we become more forgiving, more empathetic, and more inclusive. And I think that so fundamentally is what this whole community is about. And not just for people within the community, because we all know the pain of baby loss. But when we start to share our stories of loss outside the community, people can then understand the pain, and we can educate people in how to support us more effectively.
And then next up, Bit controversial, this one. Meghan Markle. Losing a child means carrying an almost unbearable grief, experienced by many but talked about by few. Yet despite the staggering commonality of this pain, the conversation remains taboo, riddled with unwarranted shame and perpetuating a cycle of solitary mourning. Some have bravely shared their stories. They have opened the door, knowing that when one person speaks the truth, it gives license for all of us to do the same. So that's why we're here. That's what we're doing. And let's get down to the nitty-gritty.
Let's get down to Christmas.
Let's get down to Christmas.
I knew you were going to do that.
Did you?
Yeah, I did, because I nearly did it and I thought, oh, I don't know. I don't know. We did promise you a sing song though. Bet you weren't expecting that one.
No. Okay. So before we move on to why Christmas is so difficult, we just wanted to show you us at Christmas. So first up, this is me and my husband. This is in 2014, and at the time we'd just been through 3 miscarriages, and the last one was a molar pregnancy, and we were on a break from trying to conceive because we were being monitored to make sure that the HCG levels were dropping. If any of you have had molar pregnancies, you'll know that, how long and drawn out that is. At this time, the ugly feelings had just started creeping in. I'm one of, well, my mum has remarried, and between the two of them, there are 5 kids. So I've got a brother, a sister, a stepbrother, and a stepsister. And at the time, I'm the eldest, and at the time, none of us had any children. So it was a little bit, in hindsight now, at the time, it was horrendous. But now, looking back, it was one of the easier Christmases that I had to deal with after loss, because there were no kids around. There was no one trying for kids. We just, we were all adults, late teens, and we just had a merry, drunk Christmas. But moving on, 2 years down the line, I'm a bit tipsy in this one. We were on another break, actually, because I'd had 5 losses and I was waiting for a uterine resection for a heart-shaped womb. And I basically spent the whole Christmas, this is Christmas evening, playing beer pong at my uncle's house, but I spent the whole of Christmas, like the few weeks leading up to it, drunk, because that was the only real way to get through it. And at that point, my friends had all started having kids. I had 2 nieces. I had one unexpected surprise niece on the way from my sister-in-law, who had a 2-night stand, and I was bitter and jealous, and the ugly feelings were rife. Moving on to 2017, this is my brother and my sister. I had 6 losses at this time, and my brother lived in Qatar at the time, and him and his pregnant wife and his 1-year-old child were staying with us for the week. It was really hard, and basically I did what I usually do and drank my way through Christmas. But this Christmas was particularly emotional. We're at my mum's house here, and I had to leave. I said to Scoop, my husband, I can't do this anymore. I'd put on my game face. I'd been the fun auntie. We'd all played games and done presents and danced in the kitchen, and I just was like, I can't do this. And we went home, and my brother and my pregnant sister-in-law and my 1-year-old niece turned up at home 10 minutes after we'd got home, and I just couldn't escape it. I felt awful, and I was so emotional, and actually found out a week later that I was pregnant, which ended up being an ectopic pregnancy. But that's probably why I was extra emotional at the time. Yeah, it was a tough one. But I just wanted to show you these pictures to show that, well, this is probably what you're all going to be doing. You're going to be putting your game faces on. Some of you might drink your way through Christmas. I don't recommend that, by the way. It was my really poor coping strategy. But yeah, although we look happy and jolly on the outside, it doesn't necessarily mean that it's not incredibly tough and we're not struggling. Bex?
And this is me looking very intense. And this was me the day that my baby was due, should have been due, which was the 11th of December, 2020. And I wanted everyone to think that I was okay. And I wanted and I was still in a phase that I was, although we'd started the worst girl gang ever, I was still so angry with myself that I sort of just punished myself. And that was using alcohol and like exercise to the nth degree. So I took this just after a run, and I remember thinking at the time, like, it really, I was wearing this t-shirt, Strong Girls Club t-shirt, and I really was saying on the outside what I didn't feel on the middle. And I felt like people were saying to me, you know, you're so strong. And I just felt like I didn't have a choice. I felt like I was directed on this route, which I wouldn't have chosen, and I didn't want to be there. And yet there I was. And I just think retrospectively, looking back on that, I hadn't done much healing. I hadn't really accepted what had happened. And I was just punishing myself, like constantly punishing myself physically, emotionally, mentally. And I wasn't, yeah, I was in a really bad place when I took this photo.
So let's talk about why Christmas is so bloody hard. Pop in the chat, tell us what you find most difficult about Christmas, or what your biggest fears are leading up to Christmas. We're going to talk through some of the reasons now.
So, I mean, it seems like everyone else is happy. And although I think this is something I feel about social media all the time, like we see this snapshot of people's lives, but during the festive period, it's so much. It's so much, isn't it? And I think because of the gimmicks that we see, and you know, the elf on the shelf thing, I fucking hate elf on the shelf so much. And they're like, it's in your face all the time. There's like little like, oh, we're having so much fun doing these little elves, and it's just so painful all the time. And it's not like that. I know, I think so many of us know that, and we can see that that's not real. But when you're faced with it all the time, and it's every day, and you can't get away from it, it just feels like everyone else is having a whale of a time, everyone else is happy, and you're the ones that are really struggling. And I think that's a really difficult thing to understand, that even though it looks like they're happy, it's just a snippet of time. And you know, that whole thing that just is in your face all the time.
And it's so child orientated, isn't it? Which is wonderful for people, wonderful for the children. Of course, we wouldn't want it any other way. It's wonderful for people who have children. But when you are missing a child, or you don't have any children, and it's something you so desperately want, it's constantly reminding you of what you don't have, and you feel left out and left behind.
And it revolves around gatherings with friends and family. And as we all know, as we talk about a lot, when you're at the age where you're wanting to extend your family or wanting to have a baby, so chances are so are most of your friends and family, and therefore sometimes it's unavoidable. Sometimes seeing friends and family with children, you have to do it. And sometimes you are stuck in a situation where there's people asking you questions that feel really painful to be asked, and you're in triggering situations with friends and family, and it's difficult to navigate those relationships at the best of time. But at Christmas, when you got all this other shit on top of you, it just makes it almost impossible.
And then there's the adverts and the TV shows and the Christmas movies, which serve as a constant reminder of what you don't have, how much fun other people are having, all of these dreams that we had when we were growing up, and we thought we wanted to have children, we wanted our family to look like that, we want to do all those special things. Yeah, it's just another kick in the face, and it's constant, isn't it, at this time of the year? And it's not just the week of Christmas, it's the whole lead up, the the adverts, like the John Lewis advert comes out bloody mid-November these days. Yeah, it's just, there's just no getting away from it.
And as I already talked about, social media is rife with things like matching PJs and picture perfect Christmas trees and, you know, Santa's footprints and all that stuff that you want to be doing. You see it through everyone else's eyes. And when you've got that space missing at the table, it's really difficult. And we can't get away from social media. It's everywhere, you know, whether you open up Instagram or Facebook or, I don't know, TikTok. Don't really know much about TikTok, but all of these things, it's just there, it's in your face, and you can't get away from it.
And then, of course, it means that another year is coming to an end. And although some people might be pleased to be moving on to the next year, feel more hopeful about next year, if you've lost a baby in 2023, then saying goodbye to it, saying goodbye to 2023 is really difficult. I think it's one of those things that you don't realise how difficult it is until you're there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's so hard, isn't it? Because for so many people, like the year that you lost your baby is like, you want to get out of that year as soon as possible. It's like, let's just turn the page, start another year, leave it all behind. And then when you get there, it's a real sort of bittersweet thing, because you're right, you feel like that link is disappearing, and you feel like the days between you and your baby are, you know, you're getting further away from the experience, and that can be a really, really sad and difficult thing. It's to be honest, it's a complete mind fuck, because you expect that you're going to really, really want that next year to come in, but when it does come down to it, like Laura said, it can be really, really difficult. So that's completely normal and natural.
And then
and as Laura said, you know, how you imagined your life at Christmas, it's whether you hope for another child, whether you thought you were going to be pregnant, whether you thought you're going to have a newborn baby, you know, whether you were just early and then found out you've had an early loss, like we all have, as soon as we find out we're pregnant, we have that one. Christmas is one of the things that we think about really early on. I know personally, my baby was due mid-December, and I remember as soon as I found out I was pregnant thinking, oh yes, everyone's going to have to do what I want for Christmas, because I'm going to be, you know, with this newborn baby. And it was a really difficult and painful realization after I'd lost the baby that Christmas was just going to be Christmas. And it just seems to be this big stumbling block for so many people.
And then there are the pregnancy announcements. I don't think I can remember a Christmas where I've not logged onto Facebook and seen someone with a scan picture announcing their pregnancy. I mean, you can see why people get excited. They want to share their news, and I guess they should be able to, but it just is one of those things that stings so much. And when you're navigating Christmas, and you're trying really hard to put your game face on, and not hiding under the duvet like you really want to, and then bam, there it is, a pregnancy announcement. And these pregnancy announcements happen all year round, obviously, but at Christmas it just hits a little harder.
And it's not just the pregnancy announcements, is it? Because you often talk, Laura, about how, you know, you see an engagement announcement and it made you think, fucking hell, I bet they have a baby before me.
Yeah.
It's like that whole, you know, the obvious kind of the way it plays out: get engaged, get married, have a baby. And as soon as you see that first one, that engagement, you're like,
oh, here we go.
Yeah. And
They're
that's
going to
so,
have a baby before me.
and everyone, like, why does everyone get engaged at Christmas? Like, if you got engaged at Christmas, great. But it just seems like, you know, you can't, or New Year, it's so hard to like avoid all these bloody announcements. So when you look at that, I mean, all of that, when you look at it and you think about it and you read through it and we explain it to you, like, is it any wonder that Christmas is so difficult? Is it any wonder?
Okay, so we've talked through why it's so difficult. So let's also talk about how we can manage it. These are our top tips for surviving Christmas. I've got a poll for this. Now, she says, ready? Can you see that? Oh, there we are. Can anyone see it? Oh yeah, the answers are coming in. Okay, switch off and step back. The poll is, have you done any of the following? We're going to talk through all of these now.
I can't remember. Laura, did we talk about how this baby loss has robbed the joy that you might have for Christmas, or is that later?
Don't know.
Yeah, anyway, I was just someone just said something in the chat and it really reminded me is that it's so hard as well. If you're someone who really looks forward to Christmas and really enjoys it, and then you experience this loss and suddenly you don't look forward to it anymore, it really feels like something extra that you're missing out on, something else that has been taken from you by the loss of your baby. And I think that's a really difficult thing to come to terms with as well. Just the fact that you're not looking forward to it anymore. You're not, you don't enjoy the build up. You don't enjoy it when the lights go in on your local town. You don't enjoy the bloody Mariah Carey when she comes on the radio for the first time. And I think that is really, really difficult when you feel like you've been robbed of yet another thing.
Yeah.
It might come up later and I'll just say all that again, but I just wanted to make sure we covered it. So switch off and step back is so incredibly important. And actually switching off and stepping back can mean different things to different people. It can mean go and focus on something else entirely, which we do cover a little bit, but switching off and stepping back means switching off and stepping back specifically from things that might trigger you, from triggers really. So firstly, silence the WhatsApp groups. Like WhatsApp groups can be incredibly triggering. And if you have like family WhatsApp groups where people send multiple pictures of their children, their baby and their scan pictures and all of that, silence it, archive it until after Christmas. You don't have to engage in these things. You don't have to comment. You don't have to, get involved. So do try and either silent mute it or archive it until you're feeling at a place, where everything else has gone past, all the shit that Christmas brings has sort of ebbed slightly, and then get back involved if you want to.
Only 52% of you have silenced the WhatsApp group before. I encourage you to, the other 48% of you, to give it a go.
Yeah, 100%.
Declining the invite. This can be anything from the work Christmas party to drinks with friends. It can even mean if you take it in turns to go to your partner's family or your family or your mum or your dad, and there's someone there, someone in the family who's just had a baby or who is pregnant, who you think, I can't be dealing with them this Christmas. You don't have to go to that person just because it's your year. So yeah, decline the invites that you dread. The ones that you think, can't think of anything worse. Decline it.
And unfollow people who don't make you happy. Like I was telling Laura earlier that I've had a bit of a spree on Instagram the other day, and I unfollowed loads of accounts that didn't make me feel happy. And I think we're in the danger of getting in this sort of echo chamber of following one account and then another one similar gets suggested, and then before you know it, you're just surrounded by people talking about the same things. And if you're not in a good place and you're surrounded by that all the time, it's really not going to help you. So if you just take half an hour and start unfollowing people that don't bring you happiness, it's a really, really good idea, because then social media feels less scary. Like my social media now is full of like memes about being in your 30s and people falling over. It's great. I love it.
Yeah, mine's air fryer lunch hacks. He doesn't love an air fryer lunch hack.
Brilliant.
And then lastly, deleting social media apps from your phone. They're just so easily accessible, aren't they, when they're in an app on your phone?
Yeah.
doesn't mean you have to delete your account, and you can still go into the old-fashioned browser and type in www.facebook.com and see what you want to see. But if you've deleted the apps, it just means that you're not going to be getting the alerts, and it's not as easy. You'll think about it before you automatically just click on it, and before you know it, you're being triggered left, right, and center.
And I don't know about you guys, but it's like my thumb has a memory, because I'll go onto my phone to do something and I'll find myself on Instagram before I realize what I've done. And I think it's so easy to get into the routine of just going straight onto social media. And if you remove the apps from your home screen, you can't do that, and you get out of the habit. And actually, then it makes it easier to form new habits, later on, and use it less.
Right.
Numero dos.
Boundaries.
Boundaries. This is my favorite one. I love a boundary.
Yes, you do. So we recommend starting small. It can be really quite scary putting boundaries in place. I used to be really rubbish at it, but thanks to Bex, I'm much better at it now. So yeah, start small. It doesn't need to mean anything drastic. But it can be if you want it to be. But starting small with things like muting the WhatsApp groups, or not answering the phone to someone who you don't have the headspace for right there and then. Something simple.
Yeah, I didn't realize when I taught you all this about stuff about boundaries that you were going to start ignoring me quite as often as you do now.
You've taught me well.
You leave me unread for days at a time sometimes. But it's right. You don't have to answer the phone every time it rings. And saying no. If you say, you can start small by saying no, and you don't have to say no to big things like going for Christmas dinner with your in-laws. You can say no to a Christmas carol concert that you've been invited to that you don't particularly want to. Try practice saying no, because it's quite liberating once you've done it a few times. And then you can say no to your in-laws. You grow some balls and say no to your in-laws. It's best.
Yeah. Be firm, calm, and clear. If you say, oh yeah, we'll do our best to come, knowing full well that you're not going to go and you won't be up for it, then you'll still get people messaging saying, are you coming to my drinks at my house this afternoon? If you in the first place just say, really sorry, can't come, then they won't hassle you.
Because you end up just feeling worse, don't you? Because the longer it goes on, and the more, once you've drawn a line under it and said no, you sort of like relax a bit and feel a bit liberated, and like you can get on with your life. Whereas if you sort of string it along, it's always hanging over you and you feel bad. Well, certainly that's from my point of view. I always feel bad about stuff that I don't deal with straight away. But also don't feel you need to apologize for your boundaries. Your needs are just as important as everyone else's. So instead of saying, oh, I'm really sorry, I can't make it for everybody, to say, I can't come. You don't even have to give a reason. I can't make it. It's not, I think when we start apologizing for what we need to do and where we need to be for our own mental health, it gives the other person the impression that you've done something wrong because you've apologized. That's what they immediately think, but you haven't. All you're doing is protecting yourself, and that is so vitally important.
And you need to trust and believe in yourself, and remember that you are in control. You don't have to do anything that you don't want to do.
Yeah, remember, you have you are, what did I say earlier? That sounded really good. You are the architect of your own life. It wasn't that, but that sounds good too. So you can just, do whatever the fuck you want to do. You are in control of your life. You are autonomous over your own feelings and actions. So it's time. It really is time to focus on yourself and what you need with these boundaries.
Yeah. So preparing a response. Now, sorry, 1 second. Preparing a response. That's where we are. Why is it not working? Oh, there we are. Sorry about that.
I
Okay.
just want to quickly, Naomi said, I say no to many things, but how do you do it when there are young family members whose lives you still want to be a part of? It's hard. It is so hard when there are children involved because obviously you don't want to take any joy away from their Christmas. But I think what's really important to remember is that Christmas for a child is so joyous. There is so much going on. And although, yes, absolutely, you want to be a part of it, you don't have to be a part of it every second of every day. You can be a part of it until it gets too much. And you can be a part of it with your boundaries in place and step away when you need to,
Yeah.
rather than being all in or all out. You can pick and choose the amount of time that you want to spend there, which is something that we go on to anyway,
Yeah, on your terms.
on your terms.
So preparing a response.
Preparing a response. This is probably one of like the most, I would say, the most helpful things that we cover because it has really, really worked for lots of people that we've talked this through with. In certain situations, you may feel off guard or under attack, and triggered. And this is particularly applies to things like office Christmas parties, family events, people that say things like, oh, when are you having children? Or, oh, aren't you going to give so and so a little brother or sister? Or, oh, you've just got married. Do we hear the patter of tiny feet? All that stuff that can be really, really difficult to hear. These are the situations that this kind of preparation of a response will be really helpful for.
Yeah, let us know in the chat what sort of questions trigger you. What are you petrified of being asked? What things make you feel upset and angry when people ask you these questions? So we're going to sort you out with an emotional toolbox. This is Bex's favorite thing, the emotional
It is
toolbox.
my favorite thing. Yeah, yeah. And having this emotional toolbox really can change your feelings from anxiety to empowerment. And that's what we want. We want you to go into these environments not feeling super scared, and also with the ability to kind of enjoy what you can out of Christmas. We can't tell you that it's going to be easy because it's more than likely it's not going to be easy. But if you can learn if you can pack that emotional toolbox with some really useful tools, then there is no reason that you can't go to that Christmas party, or it hopefully will make you dread these social occasions slightly less.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So if you can recognize these triggering questions and situations in advance, then prepare an answer. It's tricky because there's no hard and fast rule. For me, it always would depend on who the person was that was asking me the question, what situation we were in, and also what mood I was in. And it depends how deep you want to get into a conversation. At the time, do you want to talk about your baby and talk about what you've been through, or not? Is it a stranger that you think, I don't want to get into this with? Or if you're having a ragey day and you think, well, you've asked me the question, I'm going to answer. I don't care if you feel uncomfortable. You've made me feel uncomfortable, so I'm going to give you the answer. This is what happened to me. So yeah, the questions will be different for everybody, and the answers will be different depending on what situation you're in. But you really can, this turning feelings from anxiety to empowerment. I remember feeling just petrified of going to places because I would fear being asked specific questions, and I would not go. I would withdraw from things and not attend events with my friends because I was worried about a certain person or people asking me something that would upset me. But actually, if you can prepare the answer, know what you're going to say, then when someone asks you the question, you give that answer, and you can either shut down the conversation or get into the details, whatever is best for you. And it really can make you feel a lot less anxious.
And I think you can come up with different answers. You can come up with something that shuts it down. I'm sorry. Oh, we were talking about this earlier. Like, I'm sorry, I don't have the headspace for this conversation right now. Is a classic because that's such an on-trend thing to say. I don't have the capacity for this right now. I don't have the headspace for this right now. And it totally shuts down the conversation. Or even, oh, excuse me, I don't want to talk about this. And then just exit, just go to the toilet or something. And anything that shuts down the conversation, if that's how you're feeling, you'll feel better instantly after you get out of that conversation. You don't have to be rude. Just really nicely explaining that you're not in the right mood to talk about that is great. And Laura, what was it that you said you use quite a lot?
I always used to say, when people said, "Oh, are you gonna, when are you having a baby, or is it your turn next?" I'd say, "Well, we're trying, but it's not always that easy." And that, apart from once, that always shut down the conversation. And one man was quite persistent with me. It was an old boy. He was one of my clients, and he didn't really get it. So he just carried on. Well, it is quite easy, just have sex. And I was like, no. But a few people would then say to me, "Oh, really, having difficulties?" But they were the only people that ever did that were people who'd been through something similar themselves. So they were leading the conversation on further, and I was happy to do that with them. But most people just took it as, "Oh, okay, fine, I won't ask any more."
And if you can have these like a handful of stop responses for each situation, whether you're ready to talk about it, whether you're not, who it is, that sort of thing, actually practice them in the mirror. Practice them so they roll off the tongue. And then you can go into these situations armed, ready with this response, and you will automatically feel more confident. I think it's like the rabbit caught in headlights, the sort of stuttering, and then feeling awkward that makes you not want to go to these events at all. And I think when you go, so much of your energy is used up by feeling anxious about what might happen. You can't have a good time. But if you go in thinking, well, yeah, I mean, it's a fair chance that I'll be asked something inappropriate about my fertility, but I've got these responses, like you're sort of rehearsing a play in your head and you've got your lines ready, then you will automatically go in and be able to have more of a good time than you would without them.
Yeah. And give yourself a moment to breathe before responding. Very important.
In for four, out for more.
Right, plan your escape.
Yes.
I love this one.
Yeah. So, number one, prep your partner. So if you're going into one of these, I'm a big fan actually of the French exit. When you don't tell anyone you're going and you just go as if you're going to the toilet, then you leave and you never look back. That's my way to leave a party. But if you're going with a partner, have a chat with them and say, look, I'm not sure how I feel about tonight. Can we make a deal that we'll check in every half hour? And if one of us is feeling uncomfortable, we're just going to go or whatever, make sure someone else, the person that, if you're going with someone, make sure they know that you're not 100% comfortable with the situation and you can help each other if you need to leave.
Yeah, and I liked laying the foundations. One of my favorites was, yeah, well, we're going to come, but the dog's got the runs, so we might need to nip off and check on
Not
him.
advisable if you don't have a dog.
No, don't use that one if you've not got a dog. But if you say, "Oh yeah, we'd love to come, but we also, we're busy at the moment, not sure how long we'll be able to stay," then at least you've laid the foundations, and when it comes to you leaving, there's not going to be like 100 questions, or you won't feel bad.
And also if you say yeah, when you receive the invite, if you say, "Oh yeah, we'd love to see you, so we'll pop in for a bit," even just using that word "pop in," it implies that you can't stay for long. And then you don't have to say like, "Oh, I've got, Aunt Doris I've got to be at hers by 5," because it might turn out that you have a really good time. And when your expectations are low, usually you find that you have a better time than you thought, and that allows you to spend more time there if you want to, because we all deserve a good time.
Yeah.
And finally, you can always take 5 minutes out, whether it's in the bathroom, whether it's going outside, whether it's having a wander around, whether it's going for a romantic walk with your partner on the pretense of, or an actual romantic walk, who knows? Taking 5 minutes out, especially if you can get in the fresh air, will really just bring all the emotion down, change your scenery, change your senses, take those deep breaths, and that will be really helpful to your mental state.
I've actually got a poll for this. Wanted to know what your 5 minutes out is, what it looks like. At the end of this, we've got a audio meditation for you to listen to, and you'll get sent out a link to it in the emails that go out tomorrow. And it's been created by someone especially for us. So yeah, that's meditation. But then also going out for a walk, getting some fresh air, music and dancing. Bex, you were talking earlier about your Spotify playlists.
I love a Spotify playlist. Yeah, it's I think, yeah, we'll come on to that in a sec when we go through the other stuff. But I think music for me has been really helpful.
So it looks like fresh air or a walk is our best 5-minute escape. Crying in the toilet, sadly, is high up as well. Well, hopefully you find the meditation, the audio track, useful. Okay. Be kind to yourself.
This is so important, and I think that self-care brings up images of fluffy robes and slippers and spa days and spending loads of money, but it really, really doesn't have to be that way. Self-care can be as simple as having a cup of tea in your favorite mug. It can be looking out and noticing the way the sun's shining through the leaves. Self-care is going to be different for everyone, but it is just about picking up. We talk a lot about the crumbs of joy, and it's about picking up those little crumbs of joy, whatever they are, wherever you might find them, and storing them in your pocket until you've got enough to make a biscuit. And when you've got that biscuit, you can use it when your resources are low, and that's really helpful.
Yeah, just showing yourself some compassion, find the things that make you happy and do more of them.
And cry if you want to. We talked about crying in the toilet, but crying is such a release. For me personally, I feel like a bit of a pressure cooker sometimes. And sometimes I actually really need a good cry, and I'll just go and cry and really ugly cry, like really sob. And then I find I feel so much better. It's like an energy release. And then you don't want to cry anymore. And that's fine. But when you're constantly holding back the tears, holding back the tears, holding back the tears, it just gets bigger and bigger and bigger. And then, well, for me personally, it comes out in all, no, not the tears. Tears just come out my eyes, but it comes out in all different ways. It manifests itself. My grief and upset manifests itself in all different emotions, like anger and depression and all that stuff. So it's so important to cry when you want to.
And we're huge advocates of blogging and writing and journaling. It can be a form of therapy, just getting those words down on paper. Sometimes you don't want to verbalize them, or you don't want to talk to other people about them because you don't want to hear what they've got to say back. You just need to get your thoughts out of your head. And that is a good way to do it.
And finding joy elsewhere. It doesn't all have to be about kids. We talk a lot about this within our membership, and it's about looking for what helps you personally. And sometimes it takes a bit of exploration to find out what that is. For example, if you used to play netball at school and you haven't played netball since you're at school, there are so many clubs and places in, popping up in different areas, and all it takes a bit of research. And sometimes it's the research that is the fun bit, or like looking into further education or changing your job or getting a pet, or all of these things can bring so much joy. And equally, things like creative therapies like painting or making things with your hands is sometimes really, really helpful, and it does bring us joy, and it takes our minds off things. It provides an alternative focus and can be really helpful in just directing your energies elsewhere
and getting your daily dose of happiness chemicals, right, Bex?
Daily dose. So dopamine is a really, really important happy hormone. So you've got 4 main happy hormones, and dopamine is one of them. And I'm not sure I'm going to be able to remember the others. Serotonin.
Wow, here we are.
Here we go. Dopamine, oxytocin, serotonin, endorphins. And this is like exercise. This is if any of you like cold swimming, outdoor swimming, or even just a blast in a cold shower, or those blow up ice bath things. They're really good because they release these happy hormones. Cuddling, massage, that's oxytocin. That's where that sort of released, and serotonin is like meditation and stuff, endorphins, that's exercise and that, but dopamine can be found when you're researching stuff, when you are knee deep in a really fun research project. This is me. I have issues with my dopamine receptors, so I really need this. But it's yeah, it's a really, really good way. This infographic is from Mind My Peelings, and yeah, take a screenshot now, because it's a really good way to kind of, because it gives you how to increase these hormones as well, these chemicals as well. And I've personally found this really, really helpful in when I'm in a tough spot.
Mind my peelings, not feelings. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know why it is that. Mind My Peelings. You can follow. I got this off Instagram. You can follow them on Instagram.
There we are. Okay, and lastly, tell people what you need from them.
Prepping a mate or someone you trust is, we likened this earlier to, if you're in the gym and you are lifting a weight that is heavy, which I think we can all agree the weight of baby loss is the heaviest. You need someone to spot you. You need someone to see when you're going to start to struggle, just to help you lift that weight. And that is such a good analogy for letting someone else know that you're not in a good place, so they can keep an eye out for you. They can have a look. They can see if you're in a conversation that you might be finding difficult, when your eyes are all over the place and you're looking for an escape route, they can swoop in and help you. So if you know someone that is going to be at the same function as you, or if one of your family members you're close to, and you're going to the same sort of family thing over Christmas, just let them know that you're struggling. And then at least it's another pair of eyes that can look out for potentially triggering and painful conversations and chats and situations that can really give you a get out.
Yeah. We feel like we shouldn't have to tell people what we need from them. But we know that unless you have been through these experiences yourself, you really don't know what to do to make someone feel better. And the majority of people love us dearly and want to help us, but they don't know how. And often that's why there's a lot of silence. So if we can tell them what we need from them, we need to. And the thing is, we're all very different as well. So we might need something different to the next person, but also what we need might change from day to day, week to week, month to month. So if you can have these honest conversations with people and say, I'm really struggling at the moment. I need some distance, or I need company, or I need to go out. Here I am again talking about getting shit-faced, but I need to go and let my hair down, or whatever it is that you feel that you need. And if that changes, if you've got that open dialogue with them and you can share with them what you now need, it will make things easier for them to support you, and ultimately make things so much easier for you.
Also, like, this doesn't have to be a face-to-face chat. I know that I find face-to-face chats really difficult because I talk too much and I look for what they might not be saying, and their reaction. Yeah, I know. And the reactions and stuff. But often I will write a really, really brutally honest text message and hold my breath and send it and just wait, let it do its thing. And I find that something I start a conversation with, I'm going to level with you here, because then people, like, they go into that, right, okay, she's going to be really honest, I can take this. And that always seems to suit me quite well. But I just read one in a comment in the chat that said, can I say to my in-laws, please mention our baby over Christmas without being weird? It feels weird and I don't know how to deal with it. I would say that's a perfect opportunity for a text message. Or if your partner, depending on what your partner's relationship is like with his parents or their parents, get them to do it, and just say how much it means to you and how important it is to you. Because if you can do that via text message, you've marked that in the sand. They know where you stand, and you're not going to be waiting to see, if there's a appropriate situation for you to mention it over Christmas. If you do it now, say, this is really important to me, I'm in a lot of emotional pain right now, my baby was real, my baby existed, and I want my baby, if your baby had a name, use that name. I want my baby to be recognized as a missing part of the family over Christmas. It would mean so much to me if we could raise a glass over Christmas dinner. You've said it, you've done it, you've said your piece, and then you can kind of hand it over, and you can make that toast yourself without feeling like, oh God, this is weird, no one knows about this. That's exactly the sort of thing we're talking about when we say get other people on board, say what you need from them, because realistically, unless you've been through this yourself, people don't think about that sort of thing. They don't think that's important. It doesn't make them bad people. It makes them ill-equipped to deal with our pain because they've not been through it. So that all goes with giving guidance, doesn't it?
Yes. So we've got an audio download coming up for you, the meditation track, but we just wanted to run through the other ways that we can support you. So I have another poll because
you loving your polls this evening, mate.
Why not? It's just annoying they keep coming onto the screen, but never mind. There we are. So we have got our Facebook groups. Some of you might be on the main group, but there is also separate groups for people who are trying to conceive, those who are in the anxiety of early pregnancy after loss. There's also a later pregnancy after loss. There's a trying to conceive for over 35s. Anything else? Is that all of them? Anyway, there's lots. If you search the worst girl gang ever, or maybe it's TWGGE, you can see all of the groups.
And obviously we've got our podcast. That's how we started. We've done over 100 episodes. Our episodes, we talk about a different type of loss in every episode, and we have experts on some of them as well. For example, we've got our fertility acupuncturist Rachel, who features a lot on our Warriorship online support platform as well. She talks all about acupuncture so if you're looking at fertility acupuncture, we've got an episode with her all about that. But yeah, have a look through our podcast episodes because we have covered a lot of different loss and different fertility issues.
Yeah, I think there's about 200 episodes, isn't there?
Is there?
Yeah.
Bloody hell.
I know, there's a lot. And then most of you seem to have found us via Instagram. So if you're not following our Instagram, then do give us a follow. Head over there.
And our book, which lots of you in the chat have saying that you've read the book, found the book in EPU, read the book. That's brilliant. We wrote the book to be a sort of comfort and companion to you when you're going through loss, as a way to navigate it, a sort of survival guide. And then, so I'm pleased that so many of you have read it and have enjoyed is the wrong word, but found it helpful.
Yeah. We also run workplace webinars. We're trying to support employers to support their employees. There's a page on our website about this if anyone is interested, just a little online form to fill in. But yeah, workplace can be really difficult when you're going through this. We spend most of our time at work. So to have a supportive work environment is really important. So we are spreading the love via the workplace.
And finally, our Warriorship online support platform, which I think many of you here this evening are already part of, it's exactly what it says. It's our online support platform. We have so many resources there. We used to run courses for loss, navigating the pain of loss, trying to conceive after loss, pregnancy after loss, ending your fertility journey. That acronym really confusing then. Ending your fertility journey. And then we have things in our general groups, mind, body and soul. And this is all like expert curated content from different people who there's so much knowledge and help within our membership that it's just incredible. It's an incredible resource to be able to dip in and out of. We've got 25 modules all covering different things with different experts, which is a really incredible resource.
And then all our live sessions that we run every month. We have a weekly drop-in where you can just come and have a natter with other people. And we have creative therapies, we have informative events, and God, there's so much in there, and it's a really special place to be.
Yeah, we have like, what do we have? What's the creative therapy in January?
Poetry.
Therapeutic poetry. Then we got bath bomb making. We got gardening,
Gardening,
spring gardening. Yeah, we've got so
painting.
much. We have specialists come in to talk about things like PCOS and endometriosis and male factor infertility. You know, we do have so many experts offering so much guidance, which would otherwise cost an absolute fortune.
We've got our February book club already sorted with Laura Adlington from Bake Off.
Yes.
Yeah,
So
excited
yeah,
about that.
so much to offer. And the best thing about it is that we've got an introductory special offer for you that have joined this evening.
We will send out the links to you in an email. And just wanted to show you what some of our members have said about the warriorship. We're so incredibly proud of it. It's there's nothing else like it out there. It's a special place.
Really special. And it's lovely how many friendships have kind of been born out of it. It's so many of there's real life meetups, and yeah, there's just so much good stuff going on there. So we really do encourage you to come and have a look around it, make use of the free introductory offer, and we really hope that you will stay and we will get to know you as well.
Is there anyone here who's I've not been looking at the chat. Anyone here who's in the warriorship? Is the warriorship suitable for someone from Ireland? Yeah, we've got people from all over the world. Right, if there's anyone here, oh yeah, here, there.
Warriorship has really been such a lifeline to me. Thank you for everything you do. Yes, I love the warriorship. I am on the warriorship and I love it. It's been so helpful. Yes, I love it. I'm in. I love it. Yes, I love it. The warriorship is incredible.
Okay, cool. I thought there might be some of you on here.
Yes, it's amazing to feel part of something. It saved me. Can I join from New Zealand? Bloody right, you can.
We have special drop-in sessions for people from, we've got a US Canada time zone friendly drop-in session once a month, and the same for Australia and New Zealand. So yeah, come and meet the
Amazing
gang.
support. New to the warriorship, but I love it already. That's really good. We're really, really pleased.
We have run over. I think that was all those technical difficulties at the beginning, but yeah, that is all from us. We've just got the audio meditation coming up, which we will leave you with.
Someone's just said, how do I join the warriorship from New York? We will send you out is that what we're doing? Sending out the link?
Yeah, you should already have an email in your inbox. It's going out at 9 o'clock.
Perfect. Check your inboxes, ladies. Yeah, and thank you all so much for joining. It's been lovely to see so many people interacting with each other in the chat. So much, as always, so much support and so much validation, and just knowing that you're not alone is half the battle, I think. So yeah, sending you so much love, all of you, and we hope that your Christmas is not shit.
Here you are. Get cozy, get comfy, listen and relax.
Hello and welcome to this baby loss meditation track. My name is Lucy Livesey. I'm a mindfulness teacher and also a bereaved mother. And I have recorded this track to help promote comfort when difficult emotions arise. So maybe just allowing yourself to be open to the idea of relaxation may just be enough for the process to occur. So beginning by taking in a long, slow, deep breath. And as you release your breath, allowing yourself to settle into a comfortable position that feels right for you today. Resting your feet firmly on the floor, allowing your eyes to gently close or lowering your gaze. And bringing into your awareness this idea of relaxation in your body. Taking all your concentration to the very top of your head. Imagining somebody gently stroking your hair, allowing those feelings of relaxation to begin. Slowly scanning down through your body, relaxing and releasing the muscles in the face, in the forehead, the cheeks, in the jaw, around the mouth. Slowly moving down through your body now, resting your awareness at your shoulders. And taking a slow, deep breath in. And as you release your breath, allowing your shoulders to relax and release. Relaxing your arms, allowing your hands and your fingers to be soft. Releasing into your chest and your lower back. Releasing into your thighs, your knees, your lower legs, and your feet. You can even bring to mind the imagery of somebody gently massaging your calves, massaging your lower legs, working into the ankles and the feet, so that the whole of your lower body feels comfortably relaxed. As you rest here, now while you are resting here today, I want to invite you to wrap your arms around yourself, embracing your body in a warm, comforting hug. The type of warm, comforting hug that a friend or a family member may give you. How does this feel to be embraced in this way? Resting here in the knowledge that you are safe, you are protected, and that nobody can hurt you while you are here. Taking those slow, deep breaths, breathing deeply in and breathing deeply out. Really recognizing the safety and the stillness in this moment. And it's this safety that will guide you through the rest of your day. It's this place of safety that you know is within you that will help you to find the strength to walk forwards, one step at a time. I want to invite you now to say some affirmations with me in your mind. I am kind. I am loved. I am safe. I am strong. Breathing in deeply and feeling the air filling your lungs. And as you release your breath, allowing any negative or upsetting thoughts that you have accumulated through a recent triggering event or a difficult time, a recent anniversary, or anything that has caused you upset. Allowing the breath to release any negative or upsetting feelings or thoughts, releasing them, letting them go. And as you let these thoughts go, I want you to begin imagining now a snow globe. This snow globe is your mind. Now, I want you to shake it as hard as you can and count backwards from 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Now stop shaking the globe and watch the snow begin to settle. These are your thoughts. As the snow in your imaginary snow globe begins to settle, so do your thoughts. And you let go now of any upset that this day has caused you. Like the snow globe, you are still. And as you look at this snow globe, a great sensation of peace begins to fill your lungs as you breathe. You are a warrior. You are strong. You are loved. And you are safe. So keep holding on now to this sense of calm, relaxation, this sense of inner strength as we bring this meditation to a close. Know that you can listen to this meditation anytime you need to. I'm always here for you. I am here to guide you. And I am sending all my love and support to you wherever you are. You take care.
Thanks for coming, guys. Hope that was helpful.